audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Camille Majdali.
For some time now, we've been looking at Europe, the rise of Europe, its shaping according to its Christian foundations, and then what's happened over this past 100 years, world wars, the rising of the European Union. We think of superstates around the world, Camille, and we think of superpowers like the United States, Russia, the rise of China. But the EU wants itself to be a superstate.
Well, I believe it does, although they don't shout this from the housetops. There are quotes and statements made, past and present, basically implying that that is the goal. But what is disturbing, Neil, is if you ask the average citizen of an EU country, I'm talking about an educated one who would seem to be informed, they are oblivious to this fact that their nation state is becoming or being demoted into a province of a superstate called Europe. They literally don't see it like that. They think that the EU, to which their country belongs, is this free trade zone and peacekeeping club, a European club. They don't see it as a superstate, even though the quotes and the evidence is there to be seen.
Are you saying that ordinary people, and they might be in various countries throughout Europe, actually resist the idea of an EU superstate creating their laws for them?
Well, I don't think they're resisting because they don't seem to be aware that it's even happening. It's like the frog in the kettle. You take a frog, a live frog, throw it into a boiling cauldron of water, and guess what will happen? It'll jump right out. It doesn't want to perish in the boiling water. So what you do is called incrementalism. Slowly. Put the frog in the ice-cold pot of water, but turn up the heat ever so slowly. And by the time the frog realizes that this cold water is now piping hot, it's too late, and you end up with frog stew. I believe the people of Europe are just not aware, too busy, distracted. They don't see this happening. Superstate is okay if the people know and they vote on it and they agree. It's especially okay or good if there's a strong moral foundation. One of the founding fathers of the U.S. allegedly said that this democratic system can only work with a moral people. It cannot work with an immoral people or people who live carelessly. Now, in this case, how is a superstate being democratic, and especially when the laws of that superstate aren't even made by the elected politicians? They're made by 28 EU commissioners, all of whom are unelected.
And they're resistant to their heritage formed by those biblical Christian formations that make a people identifiable as being people of peace and people of righteousness, having a care for one another and for families. Without that foundation in place, how would a superstate develop?
Well, if they don't have a moral and truthful and godly foundation, then they're on the sinking sand. And what we see is there are some real rumbles going on in the EU, including, of course, the British decision in June 2016 to quit the EU altogether. I'm not saying it's going to fall into a heap, or at least not yet, but again, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain that build it.
Faith and the future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Camille Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Camille, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.